Welcome to Not a Nerd, I'm James. Today we're going to be talking about Book 2, The Restaurant at the End of the Universe, in this 5-book series, The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. Let's first start off with a bit of history. The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy as a series was first conceived by Douglas Adams in 1973 while lying in a field in Innsbruck, Austria. He was attempting to hitchhike all over Europe at the time. He was drunk and penniless, and it was nighttime, and he was lying in the field, like I said before, and he was staring up at the stars. He was like, oh, because he had this hitchhiker's guide to Europe. He was like, what if I wrote a guide for hitchhikers to the galaxy? And soon, eventually, the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy premiered on BBC Radio 4 as a radio comedy in 1978, and in October 1st, 1980, The Restaurant at the End of the Universe was first published in the UK. Later it was published in 1981 in the US. This series has caused a lot of change in the, let's say, in the science fiction, comedy series, comedy genres. For example, these books have influenced the works of Terry Pratchett and Neil Gaiman, in which he actually wrote a review about. And in order to understand why these are so funny, I would like to give you a short overview of the plot. First of all, what happens is a group of 4 travelers, or intergalactic travelers, and they're going through space. They're on a ship called the Heart of Gold, in which they stole, and Arthur Dent, an Earthman, a person that came from Earth, a London, a British person, an English person, he wants a cup of tea, like a good cup of tea, because this drink synthesizer on board the ship, it produced tea of very inferior quality. And so he asks the drink synthesizer to make a good cup of tea, and he basically explained the history of tea. And then this caused the ship's computers to be, overloaded, and the ship basically couldn't move because any motion required. So basically, start the engines, stop the engines, turn on the shields, shoot projectiles. All of those required the ship's computer. And because he overloaded the ship's computer, they were basically vulnerable to any kind of attack. And lo and behold, they got attacked by Vogons, which are a very vile group of, let's call them, creatures. And once they got entangled with these Vogons, the group of 4, they sought help from ancestry of one of the other travelers, a Betelgeusian, a person from a different solar system than ours, and soon time was slowed down so that it wouldn't destroy the ship too much, and also the ancestor, teleported Marvin, a very paranoid and very depressed robot, and Zapod Beeblebrox, a con man, ex-president of the galaxy, and a space traveler of the group of 4 on the Heart of Gold, all to a faraway planet. And soon, these 2, Marvin and Zapod, they get entangled with Frogstar fighters, which are basically Vogons, but a little smarter and a lot more aggressive. And soon, Zapod gets transported to this place called Frogstar World B, which is basically where the total perspective vortex is housed. And the total perspective vortex basically shows you how large, infinitely large, the universe is. And this usually resulted in, people flailing out or dying while in the middle of it. And so Zapod Beeblebrox was originally intended to go into the vortex, but by some chance, he was not killed by the affair, and he was also very unfazed by the experience. Soon they all get together on a ship, the Heart of Gold, and they all teleport, or time travel, let's say, to Milliways, the restaurant at the end of the universe. And this restaurant, let's say, is on the end of the universe. It's not, I mean, by physical border, like for example, this would be the end of the couch, and, well, not the couch, but rather by the end of time, and the end of all time, and the end of the entire universe. And Zapod Beeblebrox actually describes this as a gib. Basically the opposite of a Big Bang, right? And what Zapod Beeblebrox gets teleported to time travel to Milliways, as I said before. And this will be, because it's the end of the universe, but these will be built at the end, on Frogstar World B. And so eventually they just time traveled throughout space, throughout time, and they end up in this restaurant in which they realize that their ship, the Heart of Gold, was not, let's not really say steal, but taken by another person, who was trying to find who actually ruled over the universe. Now, this caused some problems for the four travelers because, well, they had eaten their fill and they wanted to leave. And so they stole the stun ship of a very famous musician in the universe. And they soon realized, after they were in it, that it was programmed and it was actually set to crash into the sun of a concert that was about to happen. And so, because the four people were already on the ship, and they were stuck in it because they were already flying through space, they had no choice but to basically accept their fate until Arthur Dent, the same guy that was trying to make tea earlier, found a teleport button on the ship. Although the teleport was partly finished and lacked no guidance control, meaning that whoever pressed the button, whoever went in it, there was no saying about where you would go or like precisely where you would land. And so, because they were about to crash into the sun and they could not deviate from its course, they took the risk and soon pressed the button, and eventually they got separated. And that leads into the third book in the series, So Long and Thanks for All the Fish. Thank you for watching this book review to the end, and I really hope you enjoyed it. If you are interested in stories such as intergalactic adventures, and some light humor, I highly recommend The Restaurant at the End of the Universe, as well as the entire series, The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.